Hello everyone, welcome back to Curiosulus Chronicles podcast. This is your host Rohit Gautam. This week I'm with a new guest. Her name is Chandima Dutton and she is the CEO and co-founder of Better Conversations Foundation. We're going to talk about her leadership journey through Better Conversations. Before we start, I would like to thank once again for Abhyuday Global Coach Circle for their continued support. And if you are looking into professional coaching, do check out their programs. Secondly, please help me reach 5,000 subscribers by end of this year by subscribing this podcast. Please click on the subscribe button and press the bell icon to get future updates. Let's not wait and crack on with the episode today. Hi Chandima, welcome to Curiosulus Chronicles podcast.
Hi, lovely to be here.
My pleasure. How are you? How are you feeling?
I'm good, thanks. Yeah. Had a good week.
That's good. Good to hear.
Week and looking forward to our conversation.
Brilliant. Yeah, I am as well, actually. Since I finished our modules, so I'm quite inspired to take this further. So I want to start. Are you green, red, amber? Where are you?
Brilliant. I'm green. Tiny tinge of yellow, but I can describe that as a lime green, I think.
Okay.
Excited and wanted to know what else we can talk about.
That's brilliant. And I'm full green as well, dark green. So I'm very good to go. So listeners, if you don't know what we are talking about, stay tuned because we're going to talk about this a little bit later. Yeah. So Chandima, can you please share your journey and actually what inspired you to focus on leadership and workplace communication?
What inspired me was I had a lot of experience at trying to be a leader, managing teams. So through my career, I started off in the energy industry.
Right.
I started off doing software and then moved into doing more general roles. So did lots and lots of different roles and ended up managing teams, project managing, that kind of thing. And I started off as a very technical person. I have a STEM background, and I think I'd learnt the hard way that the skills that you gain as a technical person don't always equip you well for leading people. It's a different set of skills. And I decided along that route that I was going to make leadership and management kind of my technical skill, if you like. It filled that analytical part of my brain into really, really thinking about it and really striving to be better at that aspect of my role. The communication came in a bit later when I left the company I'd worked for a long, long time. I did a master's degree in innovation, creativity, and leadership, and then got into facilitation and coaching. And, the more you look into this and the more you try and make sense of it, it does come down to communication. It does come down to conversations. It's a kind of a general thread running through everything.
Right. So this is what led you to be the co-founder of Better Conversations Foundation?
Yeah, I met Simon Coles, who's the co-founder with me, and he's also interested in communication and culture. He runs a software company. And we'd known each other for a little while, and then he asked me to come and work with him. He already had started developing the Better Conversations course, and he wanted me to help him document that and scale it and kind of put it on a slightly different footing. It'd been piloted for a long time, but we were really trying to make sure that it was robust enough to share with the wider world. That was 2.5, nearly 3 years ago. That was meant to be a temporary thing, but I'm still there. And we founded the foundation pretty soon after we started working together.
Yeah.
I haven't looked back, and I don't know what the future's going to bring, but hopefully lots more good things.
Yeah, lots more good things, definitely. And myself, as I experienced it, I definitely recommend to a lot of leaders and everyone and coaches as well. So definitely. So Chandima, you've gone through your journey as a leader, and what are the pivotal moments in your career which shaped your perspective and leadership, and especially the better conversations?
Yeah. I think it's interesting we talk about leadership because I think we get plenty of opportunities to actually be followers, all through our lives,
Yeah.
and be managed by other people and have to work with other people. And it was those moments where I noticed that a manager was doing something unusual or something that made me feel good about myself and good about the work I was doing. Or I saw some managers who weren't great at that. So you can learn from both those situations. You can learn from the very best of the people you work with, and some of the people that perhaps you think, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be like that. And those are, I mean, they're only small moments in time, but those are the moments that shape my personal views on leadership. And in terms of better conversations, I think it's always been there. It's easier when you look back over
Yeah.
a career.
Yeah.
I said I have a STEM background, but I have this interest in creativity. I love learning. That's always come out in various assessments I do, and it's always been there. And I've just suddenly noticed it. It's really important. And when you do that and you're interested in something and you start working on those things that you enjoy, you start to love and become passionate about it, then it just becomes really easy to blend it in with things like leadership, things like teamwork.
So I know we touched a little bit on red, amber, and green. So what do you think as leaders, why it is important to know our energy state, where we are either red and amber or green?
I think state. So when we say red, amber, and green, we use a traffic light metaphor for emotional state. Well, thinking and feeling, which you can't separate. As leaders, I think it's really important that we allow ourselves to be human, first of all, recognize our human qualities, because I think that's what people get drawn to
Yeah,
in a
true.
leader. Somehow it won't be for everyone, but somehow you embody some values, ways of being as a leader that inspire others. And it's really important that you're aware of yourself and how your emotions can project onto others. And there's going to be times where you have to project a kind of more positive emotion set, particularly when other people are uncertain. So you do have to do a lot of work on yourself and know how to manage your emotions and show up in the way that people need you to show up. But having said that, I think you have to remember you're human,
Yeah,
and you
true.
have to
Very
remember
true.
to take the time to care for yourself.
Yeah,
Because if you don't care for yourself, you can't care for other people.
100%. Totally agree with you here. So, obviously in the journey, you probably face a lot of challenges, right,
Mhm.
as a leader. And what challenges did you face or especially creating these meaningful team conversations or connections as a leader, learning from better conversations?
Um, I would say most of the challenges come from different working styles, and that it's very easy for people to misunderstand each other just because they've got different preferences. Um, you know, I like blue, you like green, or something like that. It's I like structure and tasks, and the other person might like just going with the flow. I mean, I tend to go with the flow, but that tends to be those kind of really different ways of working tend to throw up challenges, and the more similar people are, the easier they find generally to work together. Where values are similar, generally people find it easier to work together. Where it's quite different, that's where it's challenging, and especially when you're managing a team, to try and kind of allow people to be themselves, but also kind of create this environment where they do accept the differences, and do support each other. That is probably the most challenging thing about leaders teams, and it will always be challenging. I don't think there's an easy answer for that. One of the things we've done in Amphora and Simon's company is we've just been through a whole load of neurodiversity assessments and coaching. Every single person has done that, and it's been amazing. It's opened up conversations, private conversations, some of them between 2 or 3 people, to really try and understand how people work at their best and what support they need and what they genuinely can't do. Because there's something in the way that they're built that prevents them from doing something in the same way as somebody else would, who would find it really easy. So you can do those kind of assessments, but I think it still comes back down to conversations and really good communication from both sides, and from the manager to create that environment, but also from the people in the team to recognize what they're going through, what their state is, and ask for help where they need it. And that's quite, every day you go to work on that.
Yeah.
That doesn't come easily.
Yeah, definitely. It's hard actually. It's very hard. The more you practice, you get better. But it's always like striving to the best thing, right? So it's hard. You can't go there in one go. You have to slowly take small steps to reach there. So how does this Better Conversations Foundation, the work you are doing, and the course you have, and the guide? So we're teaching the leaders or the companies or the employees about this. How does Better Conversations help leaders implement this whole a culture of okay to share, you can have better conversations? How does this foundation helps?
I think the way I think about conversations is it's kind of the smallest little intervention you can make as a leader. If you improve everyone's ability to have a good conversation, or have a conversation that is more useful than the conversations they're having. I mean, it doesn't have to be positive all the time, but it can be conversations that progress you. So doing the training like we offer, I think, because it's designed to be easy, it's designed to fit into a work schedule, it's designed to be over a period of, well, we run it over 6 weeks, as you know. It's easy to access, and it's flexible, and it doesn't require people to change. It just requires them to, think a little bit more about themselves, how they show up, what kind of assumptions they're making, what's going on. Really encourages them to listen to each other. And, we're hoping that by doing these really small things and seeding those things, it allows everyone to skill up and start to have the conversations they need to have in the team. People say it's not rocket science, and we say, no, it shouldn't be rocket
It shouldn't
science,
be.
because
Yeah.
who wants to do a degree in rocket science to have to talk to their colleague? You don't. You just want to be able to take something that's short and use it immediately. And that's another kind of thing we try and do, is make sure that when you do each session, you always walk away with something you can apply immediately.
Yeah. Definitely, 100%. I definitely vouch for this. Actually, in every session, I picked up something to take forward, and we practiced better conversations in those sessions as well, which helped. Now, I'm curious to link it to leadership, and
Mhm.
how would you define a better conversation in context of leadership?
Yeah, I was thinking about this. In the context of leadership, I think it depends on the leader because everyone has a different style.
Yeah,
But I think the listening skills are probably, as a leader, the best thing you can do is listen and be really aware of your authority if you're in a formal leadership position. The authority and the power you have and the power your words have really do trickle through the team. So again, it comes down to listening and awareness, and trying to remove the assumptions you're making, and just kind of creating that environment where your team can tell you what's going on instead of being worried or concerned. I always used to say to my team when I was managing, if you tell me what's going on, even if it's like something you don't want to tell me, like something is going wrong, I can help you at that point. If you wait months and months for me and I find out another way, I can't help you. I can't, remove the blockers.
yeah.
So it's just really being tuned in to your team and listening. And when I say listening, it's not just listening, with your ears. It's really, really noticing what's going on for them.
Yeah, it's difficult in organizations, like you said, that people with neurodiversity, they're quite, some people are open to conversation, some people are not. Uh,
Mhm.
so how can leaders then navigate situations where conversations are difficult or uncomfortable?
Yeah, I mean, we don't go into full on conflict resolution in the course. We don't have time. But I think we were talking about this towards the end of the course, weren't we?
Yeah,
The last one of the last modules is called Intentional Conversations, and what we're hoping is it's more of a preventative approach. So if you know you're going to have conversations with your colleagues or your team that are really important either to you or to them, if you spend some time preparing for those conversations, understanding what's important, what's at stake for them, as much as you, understanding what you want from the conversation, what they might want, and also what the consequences of your behavior and what you say might be for them. I think that goes a long way to kind of broach those difficult conversations. And I think quite often difficult conversations are such because we think they're difficult, and we're kind of doing this. We're one person's talking about one thing and the other person's talking about something completely different, and they don't
different. Yeah,
realize,
yeah,
right? So things like checking in with your assumptions, but also knowing what kind of conversation do you have. Do you want a conversation that will take the relationship forward? Do you want a conversation that just makes a decision? Even thinking at that level, I think heads off a lot of misunderstandings and conflicts. So if you can really focus on kind of creating the conditions for good conversations, I personally believe that heads off some of the problems that you might otherwise see.
so in your journey as a leader, before knowing about better conversations and after, what changes did you see in yourself?
Before knowing about better conversations
Yeah,
or
yeah.
developing it, or
Oh,
I
develop
think
before that and after. Yeah, yeah.
before, like I say, I learned the hard way. I I was very technical. I mean, I've got an applied maths background. Um, And I was probably very direct and probably didn't quite understand, the nuances. So I think through my career and through experiences like managing teams and having to work in environments which are really complex, that has taught me that there's, nothing is ever as you think it is. There's always different versions of the truth. There are facts, it's still facts, but there's different ways of interpreting those things. And I think it's just that was happening to me. And then having the opportunity to work on the Better Conversations course, I had to actually think about that in a way that allowed people who took the course to be able to grasp those kind of concepts, but really simply. Because Simon set tool challenge. It's like 6 hours, an hour at a time, to cover quite a lot of topics
Yes.
that are vital to conversations. And how do you do that? But that's where, when you constrain something, sometimes you have to be creative within those constraints.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to take this further on some mistakes, right? As leaders, we do, right? Especially in conversations. In your experience, what are the common mistakes there are? And obviously, we know these can be improved by better conversations, having that. But what mistake actually leaders do make in conversations?
I think the main thing is not understanding the context for the person you're talking to, and not
Right.
understanding your own context.
Right.
That's why we put that in the course. It wasn't in the course before I came into kind of developing the course. And we talk about the different types of context, but if you don't get that, you will make assumptions, and because we all do. That's just how we are as humans. So that is probably where most of the mistakes stem from. And that's why, in terms of important conversations, significant conversations, or even if you want to get to an outcome over a period of time, it's really, really important to understand the context of what you are doing and what it's like for the people you're kind of managing or leading. So that's the mistake. And the only way you can really understand the context is probably by talking to them or finding some way of getting that information from them. You can't sit in your own mind and imagine the context.
Imagine, yeah. That's what I was thinking. I think most of the time we actually not dare to share what we're thinking as well. Sometimes, we just keep it in our mind, make our judgments. Obviously, it's covered in the course anyway. But we create our own judgments rather than speaking to them. And I think what it changed in me as well to have those conversations. It's okay to have those conversations, right? Yeah. So so for any new leader, young aspiring leaders, looking to strengthen their communication skill, what advice would you give them?
Apart from coming on Better Conversations.
Of course, yeah. Of course, that is a non-negotiables. They have to come to the course. Yeah. By the way, guys, this course is free. So as Simon and Chandima are doing great job through this foundation to provide this course free. So I'll put the link in the description anyway. So please, Chandima, what advice would you give? Yeah.
So the advice, that's a difficult one. I think probably take time in your day to notice your behaviors, notice your thoughts and your feelings, reflect on them, and maybe talk to people you trust about them, because it's quite easy to go down a rabbit hole if you don't communicate with other people. So Simon and I, for example, we're both keen to make sure that we stay healthy. So we have a walking meeting during the week, every morning.
Right.
And that's just our way of checking in with each other, but also calibrating our thoughts. And we talk about everything and anything. It's a very free-form conversation. I'm also part of a group that meets every week. And at the end of the week, we come together and we just have an unstructured conversation. I think keeping connected with people as a leader is really important. Check in with them, use them, the people you trust, to test your thoughts and what you're planning to do. Test those things with people who are very different to you as well, and think differently, because you don't know how it's going to be received. So if you can make a point of calibrating and testing what you're going to say or what you're going to do beforehand, I think that will hold you in good stead. Leadership is a really, really lonely position to be in a formal leadership role, particularly if you're at the top of a company, if you're a CEO or similar. It is really lonely because there's some things you cannot talk to your employees about. So you do need to build those trusting relationships, some outside of your organization or your community, where you can really maintain your well-being and also kind of test out what you're going to say and do.
Yeah, very great advice, actually. Thank you, Chandima, for sharing this. I think this is a great advice for young leaders who are up and coming leaders, and obviously new CEOs and new C-suite level people. So we're nearly at the end of our podcast, Chandima. I'm curious, so what's next for you and for Better Conversations Foundation?
Well, we are hoping to continue to grow, reach out to people. What I'm thinking about currently, and we've been thinking about for the last maybe 18 months or so, is this is now going beyond us just, offering a course and training people who turn up. And it was always the intention that we wanted this to spread. So we are really, really working hard on understanding the second and third order effects of what we're doing. And by second and third order, I mean, first order is directly training people and directly being in contact with people. But for example, you right here, you've been on the course. We're encouraging people like you to take this out and use it however you wish. All the materials are there under Creative Commons, but we are wondering, okay, when you go out, how do we make this reliable for you? How do we make it safe for you to then go out and have an impact in the world? Because that's how we're going to measure our success. And then when you train those people or you talk to those people, what impact's that going to have on them? And when you're not with them, what kind of resonance do you leave behind? What kind of legacy is this? So that's what I mean by second or third order effects, where we can't directly be involved. We're doing a lot behind the scenes in terms of the technology, but also building a community, building documentation. We've just been on ISO 9001 training because we want to put all of that in place so you can be confident that we've done our best to make this robust. And also have a place for you to come back and ask questions and talk to us.
Yeah. So I want to say massive gratitude, basically, for providing us with all of these things, and definitely I'm taking it forward. So I'm already speaking to few of our communities and my network, how I can take it forward with them. So I'll definitely take that forward. Thank you, Chandima. So if there is one takeaway you want listeners to remember about leadership and better conversations, what would it be?
I said before, conversations are some of the smallest things you can do to help both improve, your team dynamics, but your culture, your, collaboration, all these things. It weaves through everything we do. And that's what I wanted to kind of highlight about leadership. Leadership is in those small moments. And you don't know when those moments are the critical moments. So using the kind of conversational skills, the communication skills, if you can increase your ability to really engage and resonate with people in every moment you have with them, you'll be amazed, I think, at what comes out. People really value that. People value being seen and heard, and they will do amazing things if they're seen and heard and they feel valued.
Yeah, I totally get it. It hit me actually what you just said. So
Okay.
so thanks for sharing that, by the way. So very, very, how should I say this? But I don't have words, but it is actually one thing everyone should take it forward.
Thank
People
you. I
value
hope they will.
listening. Yeah, yeah. And I know you said you are coming from a STEM background, applied maths, and you are having good conversations with me on this podcast. So thank you very much for coming onto this space, Chandima, and sharing your thoughts and
Thank you.
making us feel, sure I could do again, but yes, but I want to now do that second order and then, take it forward from here. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Looking forward to working with you
Yeah. No,
on
thank
that
you very
as well.
much. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Listen. Thank you. Okay, listeners. Thanks for watching this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode. But before that, please subscribe to this channel and I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Stay safe. Bye for now.